Indeed, it is a pride to be a part of this esteemed institute. Now, to commence this session formally, I would now like to call upon an honorable member of PIBM who has been a service veteran with 15 years of military service in the IAF and has over 14 years of experience in academics. Sir is also a trainer, qualified case instructor, and author of 3 books, a coach, and a qualified independent director from IICA. A visionary who believes in taking up challenges. We are thrilled to have a luminary like so with us on this occasion. We welcome Dr. Bharat Bhushan Singh, Director PIBM, to this event and request him to deliver the welcome speech.
Thank you, Mr. Amitabh and Ms. Bhairavi, Dr. Rajshri Pillai, Director, MBA, Abhishek Day, Vice President, Talent Acquisition, High Radiates, Mr. Ashish Banka, Senior Director, Human Capital, Categories Incorporation, Mr. Saurabh Shah, Vice President, Human Capital, Apple, Mr. Yashpal Singh, HR Director, Agro India Private Limited, my faculty colleagues, students, and members from press and media. Good afternoon to you all. I, Dr. Bharat Bhushan Singh, Director of PIBM, welcome you to today's afternoon session of Pioneer Convergence, the HR conclave which are happening at this wonderful institute. As we all are aware, soon we are going to discuss about humanizing the future of workforce. What an interesting topic, especially if you look back last 3 years, how we were operating and what was your life and all of us and our life. We truly got disconnected from the social fabric. We got grooved to our systems. Our life was on smartphones and laptops. And then as we graduated, becoming more tech savvy, embracing more technologies, we started becoming robots. Yeah, so when AI was being researched and they were thinking how to put emotions in AI, here we were humans gradually drifting towards becoming robots without any emotions. And this is the context in which I feel this session is very important. How do we humanize future of workforce? Because morning session the panelists were talking about that you can't stop using tech. In fact, the tech is going to be more and more into our life. Tech will guide us how much to laugh, when to laugh, with whom to laugh, and with whom not to laugh. Tech will guide us how much to eat, when to eat, how much calories we need to eat. I mean, it's going to engulf the entire space what we are occupying today, and there is a real danger because if you look on the mental health scenario, I don't want to quote a lot of data because that will scare all of you, but situation is really bad. And we are the generation who knows how to cope up with situations, complexities, and issues. But you generation have been taken good care of by your parents and their grandparents. So you don't know what is the pain. So if you are fired from the job, end of the life, somebody ditches you, somebody throws you out of their life or break up or what, I don't know. And you feel like there is no way to figure out. Alright, so that is the situation today, and that is where we are going to focus our afternoon session, wherein we are going to discuss about how do we humanize the workforce. I would like to talk to you something which is very dear to my heart because I always believe that India had been poor for close to 70 plus years because 50% of the population, I'm talking about women workforce, was not truly contributing in the GDP development. And In spite of so much of support, so much of facilitation, so much of concern from the government agencies and other bodies, the situation is precarious even today. Just to quote one data I was going through last day, India is one of the countries in the developing world which has the least percentage of women in formal workforce, precisely 30%. So 30% of Indian women are in workforce. If I talk about Delhi, which is supposed to be our metro cities, less than 10% women are working in formal workforce. Now, when I'm talking about humanizing future of workforce, this is the context which I understand that this is an area which my panelists must look at it. That when we are humanizing, we should embrace the other gender at the workplace. They should get the space where they can work because they need support from the entire ecosystem so that this number should increase. I don't like this statement when it says we are one of the least developed country in terms of number of people who are working in, number of women working in this formal workforce. The global average is 53%. Southeast Asian countries, I'm talking about Cambodia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand and all, it's 63%. So as a civilized nation, we have to ponder on those points, especially about making more inclusive for our other gender. There are other topics which talks about diversity, equity and inclusion as part of greater humanization effort. I am sure this session is going to throw a lot of insight on way forward in humanizing workforce. So without wasting further time, I once again formally welcome all the panelists and all my students to this wonderful session in afternoon. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No person was ever honored for what he received. Honor has been the reward for what he gave. We would be privileged to honor such dignitaries present with us. Let's start the felicitation ceremony of our esteemed guests. Our reward, our reward is a passionate HR professional with over 13 plus years of experience, which spans across different industry domains, ranging from IT services to enterprise software and consumer tech to medical devices. In HR, Sir has held responsibilities in HR business partnering, talent management, and OD interventions, among many more. He has received Global Leadership Leverage Award for Talent Acquisition and so many more. Sir is currently working as a VP and head of recruiting at High Radius. I would Let's take a look at Sir's magnificent career. I would request the video to be played, please. Please give a big round of applause to welcome Abhishek Dey sir. I would request Bharat Bhushan sir, Director PIBM, to felicitate Abhishek Dey sir. Thank you, Bharat sir. Abhishek sir, please take the stage.
Our next panel member started his career and education in the hospitality sector but over the years has worked in multiple industries, gaining versatile experiences. With over 15 years of experience in industries such as IT product engineering, services, hospitality, telecommunications, retail, and logistics, Sir is passionate about driving growth and development through effective HR strategies. He has been recognized and awarded for his contribution to the HR industry, including being awarded the HR Leader Award for contribution to HR fraternity by UEM and IEM in 2022, being awarded the Young HR Leader in December 2019 by PNGI, renowned HR body, and being featured in Corporate Citizen magazine in 2022. With his core expertise in leadership management, human resources, and team management, Sir is always looking for opportunities to connect with like minded professionals, share knowledge, and explore potential collaborations. Currently, Sir is serving as the leader, people, and culture at Cradlewise Incorporation. He is also the founder, trustee, and national president of HR Sampark, a non-profit trust focused on knowledge sharing in HR space with chapters in multiple cities. Let us have a look at Sir's illustrious career. I request the video to be played, please. Let's give a hearty round of applause to welcome Ashish Banka sir. I would request Dr. Nari sir, Assistant Director PIBM, to felicitate Ashish Banka sir. Thank you, Naren sir. Please take the stage, Ashish sir.
Our next esteemed guest is a human resource professional with more than 19 years of diverse experience working with some of the top consulting, consumer durable, and FMCG companies like PMR Advisors, Eureka Forbes, Best Foods, and Ebro India. Sir's core competency lies in human relations at work and with implementing best of the HR strategies into practice. Sir has helped organizations to achieve their objectives for total transformation, competence building, and culture change. Sir has expertise in HR policies, employee engagement, training and development, HR operations, talent acquisition, and CSR. With breakthroughs in employee retention practices, practices, employee engagement initiatives, learning and development practices, and CSR, Sir has a proven track record in streamlining workflows, evolving effective organizational procedures, and creating an enabling environment to enhance productivity. Currently, Sir is serving as the HR head at Ebro India Private Limited. Let's take a look at Sir's inspiring career journey. I request the video to be played, please. Please give a big round of applause to welcome Yashpal Singh sir. I would request Rajeshri Pillai ma'am, Director MBA and Research and Development Dean, to please felicitate Yashpal sir. Thank you, Rajeshri Pillai ma'am. Yashpal sir, please take the stage.
Our next honorable guest is on the Executive Board of MIT WPU Alumni Council, MES College of Engineering Alumni Council, Board of Studies, D.K. Patil University Pune, Amity University Noida, Corporate Advisory Board of GLA University Mathura, and governing body member of Pune Business School. He has won various accolades in which include 101 most famous HR leaders in India by World HRD Congress, top 100 emerging future HR leaders by People Matters in 2012 and 13, among many others. Sir has worked with companies like Tata Technologies, Photon Motors, to name a few. He is currently the president of HR and Life, a non-profit AO. Let's take a look at Sir's inspirational career journey. I request the video to be played, please. Let's give a big round of applause to welcome Saurabh Sasha. I would request Vinay Sir, Associate Professor, to felicitate Saurabh Shah Sir. Thank you, Vinay Sir. Please take this stage, Saurabh Sir.
Moving forward, it's time to commence the discussion session in which our revered dignitaries will talk about humanizing the future of work. The discussion will cover the following aspects. What are the challenges HR is facing to humanize the work experience in a tech-driven world? How is HR focusing on the total well-being of their workforce? How is the HR helping organizations in advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion? And how is HR reskilling itself and helping leaders, managers, and employees in reskilling?
The discussion will be for an hour, followed by a Q&A session for half an hour from the students. We would request Dr. Rajeshri Pillai ma'am to chair the session. Ma'am is a certified trainer of the Indian Society of Training and Development, New Delhi, and pursuing her postdoctoral research at IIT Kharagpur. She is PhD guide at Savitribai Phule University. She has over 18 years of experience in industry, research, and academics. She has also attended many FPDs in various IITs and NITs. She has authored 10 books on human resource management and organizational behavior. She is the editor of a book published by Wiley Publication, Future of Human Resource Management. To her credential, she has presented research papers on national and international conferences and also published research papers in international journals indexed in the Australian body of Dean's Council, Web of Science and Scopus. She is associated with many international deans and professors for research activities. She is a life member of NHRDN and ISTD, New Delhi. She is also a reviver for top international journals and an HR consultant to many MSCs. She has mentored more than 1,000 students in the HR domain. She is an expert in competency-based training to ensure the employability of her students or develop them as entrepreneurs. She has also trained young researchers for performing research activities which would contribute to society and industry. She has been awarded as Top 50 Women in Education Leaders at World Education Congress 2022. She has also received the Best Research Paper Award and presented at the International Conference of IIM Nagpur. She believes that with joy, love, and dedication, individuals can achieve anything in life. We welcome Dr. Rajeshri Pillai ma'am, Director MBA and Dean of Research and Development to this event and request her to deliver the welcome speech.
Thank you so much for such a long and elaborate introduction. I don't think so. I require so much. Thank you so much, and I welcome all the dignitaries on the dais. I would like to awake the gathering first. Can we have a big round of applause? Sing and sing. Please. I hope everybody is awake. Is everybody awake? Is everybody awake? Is everybody awake?
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's afternoon session, so it's required to, I think, awake everyone. So thank you so much, all the dignitaries, for taking out your time from your weekends and joining us and sharing your views. I thank you on behalf of PIBM. And today's topic, when we talk about humanizing the workplace, it's very, very challenging for everyone. Let it be employee or a leader or HR managers. However, I think it's both tough and challenging for HR professionals. And this topic will bring you a lot of insights, because when we were discussing to start with this topic, we have decided that every individual in this gathering must get some insight which will be useful for all of you. Yeah. So, in this era of Industry 4.0, and we are moving towards Industry 5.0, apart from that, we were talking about ChatGPT doing a lot of work, and then people facing mental health issues, then people working from home, and COVID changing the work environment and the way we work. I think last 3 years has been a roller coaster ride for everyone on this earth, I feel. And HR has got a lot of space to work, revamp HR practices. To start with, I would like to ask Saurabh sir that what are the challenges you faced when it comes to humanizing the workplace, and if you could provide some of the examples related to
Thank you to PIBM for making me part of this esteemed gathering. Really feels close to the topic, because I think the H in HR is human and R is resource. So, and I think we are talking about how do we continue to have humanized aspect of the resource continued for ages to come, so that future of work is impacted in a positive way, and work continues to become enjoyable, progressive, and continues to help us, live life king size or queen size. So, just for the information of the gathering, we have put AI-enabled tools in the room. So, if anybody dozes off, there's going to be an alarm which will go off. So, just be mindful. So, challenges. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So challenges per se, right? We're speaking about information 4.0, information 5.0, or industry 5.0. And from my perspective, actually, industry 5.0 also is over.
Yeah.
Because the way, the last 3 years have been, I think there's been a gigantic leap in terms of the entire outlook of the industry. The challenges for any organization were in the past of attracting, retaining, developing the talent. The challenges today are the same. It is attracting, retaining, developing the talent. and future also is going to be the same: attracting, retaining, developing the talent. The only perspective which changes is the magnitude of the challenge. What continues to be the challenge is, in all of this, getting the right talent at the right time, at the right cost, and with the right attitude. I think that attitude has got added over the right time, cost, aspect. So I think those are challenges which we continue to have. The subset of challenges of all of this is the topic itself, right? How do we make sure that the human element of the resource continues in this era of being mobile, in this era of remote working, in this era of phones being the entire world, making or breaking the world, and we know why. So I think those are other challenges. And the third aspect of the challenge is, with information being available literally at fingertips, with ChatGPT and all other beautiful AI tools being available, how do we still retain the human necessity or the necessity of a human being in doing the work? So how do we make that amalgamation work of a human required to do a certain job with the help of data, with the help of information which is available, and still make sure that we do the right decision, we take the right decision. And I'll conclude by just saying that the data is all available. The only difference is in the decision making. So should we make a more factual decision basis what is available, or should we do a guess estimate? That's the challenge which we have. So those are a few points from my perspective.
Yeah. So, Ashish, I would like to know from your views, you being from a different, unique space of, having a furniture which is AI driven. So, I would like to have your viewpoint onto it.
Thank you so much for this question. सभी उपस्थित को मेरा सादर प्रणाम और सभी विद्यार्थियों को बहुत
You can keep your mic little.
मैडम ने मेरी कंपनी को फर्नीचर बता दिया, but we manufacture a baby cradle which is AI driven, which helps baby to sleep. सबसे पहले मैं अगर कुछ बोलूं, उससे पहले मैं चाहूंगा कि एक नारा देश के नाम, भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय। एक तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट अपने इंस्टीट्यूट के लिए, और एक तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट अपने माता पिता की। End of the day, when we talk about challenges, बहुत तरह की challenges आते हैं। जब मैंने 14 साल पहले करियर शुरू किया था, तो कहाँ तक पहुंचेंगे उसका चैलेंज था, खुद का घर नहीं था उसका चैलेंज था। आज चैलेंज है कि 40 के बाद पहुंचेंगे तो कितना अकाउंट में बैठ के रिटायरमेंट कर। तो चैलेंजेस की कोई सीमा नहीं। आप लोग विद्यार्थियों का अलग चैलेंज होगा, कितना सीजीपीए आएंगे, कैंपस मिलेगा कि नहीं, पहला सैलरी क्या क्या करेंगे, यहाँ से कोई रिलेशनशिप है तो उसको आगे तक ले जा पाएंगे कि नहीं। तो हर कोई के जीवन में एक बैटल होता है, हम लोग फाइट करते हैं। कोई ने खूब कहा है कि कल मैं पढ़ रहा था तो इंस्टाग्राम में एक आया था कि सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा, सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा, कुछ ठीक नहीं होगा, सिर्फ आदत पड़ जाएगी। So end of the day, it's important कि हम लोग जिस आउटपुट को देखते हैं, एचआर में चैलेंज अगर आप मेरे को पूछे, आई फील द बिगेस्ट चैलेंजेस ऑफ ह्यूमन रिसोर्स। We are rooted deep within, and now when we are growing up the ladder, our economy is growing, we are able to sustain, we are able to earn, हमारी खुद की आजीविका तो बेहतर हो रही है। क्या हम लोग उसी अर्पण से जो हमारे सानिध्य में लोग रहते हैं उनके प्रति हमारा व्यवहार कैसा है? Do you say thank you to a person who sleeps the food? Do you go back and say to a person that you are not correct, I am pointing it out, don't take it negative? Do you go back and embrace LGBTQI plus, that hey, your sexual preference is okay, no matter, we are welcoming? Do you come back and say hey, there is no gender, we are all equals? You are coming to that level or not, that is my biggest challenge as a people function. And to enumerate that, how can you overcome this? There are millions of challenges which my fellow experts can mention and we all know about it, right? But I will narrate a small story. शायद इस स्टोरी से आपको उसका सलूशन पता चलेगा, क्योंकि हम लोग यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम दिखाने नहीं, सलूशन दिखाने हैं। तो 3 लोग पत्थर तोड़ रहे थे। उस पत्थर तोड़ने में आप लोग अपने आप को प्रतिबिंब देखेगा, इसी रिफ्लेक्शन ऑफ योरसेल्फ। तो 3 लोग पत्थर तोड़ रहे थे राजा के महल में, कुछ बन रहा था। तो राजा उनसे जाके पूछे कि आप क्या कर रहे हैं? संत महात्मा भी उनके साथ में थे। तो पहला आदमी बोलता है, देख नहीं रहे, पत्थर तोड़ रहा हूं मैं। गुस्से में आक्रोश भरा हुआ, he was very annoyed. He went to the second person who was breaking the stone. पूछे आप क्या कर रहे हो? बोलो कुछ नहीं है जीवन में करने को, इसलिए पत्थर तोड़ रहा हूं। तीसरे के पास गए, बोले आप क्या कर रहे हो? कुछ बन रहा है इसलिए पत्थर तोड़ रहा हूं। ये लोग वो हैं जो हमारे आसपास में रहते हैं। कोई आक्रोश है, कोई डिस्पेयर है, कोई मोटिवेटेड है, कोई सेल्फ मोटिवेटेड है। What they all need, and that is not you, we are also, we all need somebody who gives us a vision in our life. That Mahatma went to that and he told that the king was very upset that same people are doing the work and why they have the different feeling. So the Mahatma went and he gave a vision to them, जिसको हम लोग कृष्ण में बोलते हैं सारथी। हम लोग को जीवन में एक सारथी चाहिए, पर्सनल सारथी अलग, प्रोफेशनल सारथी अलग। और कृपया करके प्रोफेशनल सारथी अपने सीनियर्स को ना बनाए। प्रोफेशनल सारथी मतलब तो इंडस्ट्री के लीडर हैं। तो वो महात्मा उनके पास पहले के पास गए और उन्होंने पूछा कि आप ये मत सोचो कि आपको फैमिली का पेट भरना है इसलिए आप कमा रहे हो। ये सोचो कि यहाँ से जो कमाओगे फैमिली के साथ बैठ के खा पाओ। दूसरे के पास गए तो उन्होंने बोला कि आपके पास कुछ करने को नहीं है, कुछ तो कर रहे हो। नहीं मामा से खाना मामा से। और तीसरे के पास गए वो सेल्फ मोटिवेटेड है, वो बोला कि कुछ बन रहा है। बोला आप खुद मोटिवेटेड हो, सबको इकट्ठा करो, गैदर एवरीबॉडी। दैट इज हाउ वी बिल्ड द सोसाइटी। यू आर द यंगेस्ट ऑफ द इंडिया एंड यू विल लीड द वे। You don't have to be taught what has to be done. You know the technology, you have the competency, you have the skill, attitude, everything. What you need is proper values, right? And that is very important. Find out a mentor in your life through LinkedIn, through professional networking. If you don't get the mentor, some of you will become CEO, some of you become HR head, some of sales head, managers, some of you will not be as successful as others are. And if you ask me, out of my 3 gratuity periods of experience, this is the only difference having a good mentor. एंड करते समय सिर्फ 2 लाइन बोलना चाहूंगा। बहुत अच्छी लगी मेरे को ये लाइन, इसलिए मैंने आपके लिए लिखी है। सीढ़ियां उन्हें मुबारक हो जिन्हें छत तक जाना है। सीढ़ियां उन्हें मुबारक हो जिन्हें छत तक जाना है। हमारी मंजिल तो आसमां है, रास्ता खुद बनाना है। धन्यवाद।
Abhishek, you being in technology-driven organization, and most of your workforce would be also young, and plus working from home as well as kind of hybrid. So, what are the challenges you face managing them, and what message you would like to give when it comes to overcoming these challenges? Let it be you as a HR, or individual as an employee, or the person, people sitting here who would like to look for the work in future.
Thank you, ma'am. Ashish's act is a very tough act to follow, but I shall try. I consider myself blessed because there are only certain periods in time that HR professionals get to recreate the template that has been set. And black swan moments like COVID actually is one of those moments, right? Where Dave Aldrich himself went back and looked at his overall framework of HR competencies and said, hey, we need to make certain changes here, probably add a competency around change management and adaptability. So, and I'll answer this through an example because incidentally I joined the company just before COVID hit, and the 3 years that I spent there was during the COVID period and afterwards. Right? Please treat this as a case study. Do not ascribe whether the organization took a good decision or not. Right? I was with this XYZ organization just before COVID, very office-driven company because it's a tech company building for the globe, planning to go IPO, collaboration is important, zero work from home, zero remote work, which is very different to what I had experienced earlier in other tech companies like Uber, Microsoft, or I was like, great, this is how you build software from scratch for the world, which is going to solve the problem of testing. COVID hit in March, and we were all forced to go remote, right? And work had to still go on. And that's where I experienced when people keep talking about how do you change the engine of an aircraft when the aircraft is still flying. That's what we're doing, right? Because you can't stop work. You need to find new ways of doing work and do it effectively. But you also need to tweak your policies and frameworks to enable that new work, right? So onboarding had to happen remote. We didn't have any recorded videos, etc. All of that had to be recorded, etc. So huge change management around every process, onboarding. How do people get laptops, right? So the IT department per se became more of a supply chain program management department because they had to ensure laptops are available to people wherever they are. COVID containment zones, etc. So the competencies of people required in those roles changed. The way we worked changed. So whiteboards went away, right? The entire excitement of working together, huddling over the water cooler, that culture of ways of work went away, and we experienced culture only through Zoom windows. Interestingly, the company doubled during this time, which means that about 50% or more of people joined the company only remote. And a lot of them were freshers. So this was their first job. So for them, the social aspect of work was just log into Zoom, attend calls, do your Zoom meetings, write code, log off. Right? There was no mentorship. How do you really create that mentorship or sense of belonging in the organization, with the employees? First job. Right? The other challenge was people who had experienced in-person work elsewhere, experienced professionals, joined us remote, and they were like, oh, there's something wrong with this company. Culture is very different. Culture is not different. Just join a company which is pivoted from being in person to being remote. So again, change is there. So I think the biggest learning there was, and then when COVID went away, we said that we are going to remain remote because of a business decision that we took, talent availability, etc. Productivity was up, and we said we can still continue to build effectively by being remote. Now, it's a very different situation during COVID and post-COVID. During COVID, you're forced to work inside. You're forced to work in a situation where you don't have domestic help coming in, and you're contributing to household work. Your work-life balance goes for a toss. Post-COVID, you have a choice of going out, right? You have a choice of seeing your spouse go to office, and you're sitting at home working, right? So very, very different way of managing that workforce, and how do you integrate that workforce into the mainstream workforce? So I think all of these were three very distinct challenges, and HR professionals, I think it's a beautiful time for us to just reinvent the template. We can talk more about it.
That's great. I think huge challenge for you to manage. Yashpal sir, you being from manufacturing, and I think your product is loved by all of my students, which is pasta. And I think you can suggest them that what challenges you face as a HR also when they get into workplace, what challenges they would face. If you can highlight over that, that would be good. And even then, next question we will talk about how to overcome those challenges. Please.
Thank you. First of all, thank you very much, PIBM, for this opportunity. And I'm very happy to see the kind of excitement and the energy of the students. Very nice. This is one of the disadvantages of speaking in the last. That most of the points and challenges are covered by all the esteemed panelists. apart from what they said, I think there are challenges like scaling and shortage of manpower, the new skills and technology, the speed which is required to adopt the new technology. I feel that like first of all, if we see that what is the future of work, the work can be divided into two parts. One is the parts related to the processes which are there in the work. And second part is, and the processes will get automated. There's no human element as such required in the processes. And the second aspect are those aspects which can't be automated. And they are problem solving kind of aspects. So processes like profile screening, like selfie processing, like employee queries, and the human problem solving aspects like headhunting, scaling, employee engagement, and maybe kind of culture. So these aspects can't be automated. These are some or the other human aspects will be required. Humanizing will be required. Now, what is humanizing? So humanizing in a layman's language, we can say this is our ability to kind of look at the emotions and then respond. And this is the difference between us doing the work and the machines doing the work, right? So, like for me, the biggest challenge for people, the HR people especially, is segregating the processes and problem solving aspects. Processes they have to kind of automate, and problem solving aspects they have to kind of put the subjectivity and the kind of human part in that. So in processes we don't need any emotions, and for problem solving like PMS, there is another big challenge that this is process also. We all I think all the panelists will agree that we always say we have started the process of PMS, and maybe you will also learn that PMS is a process, but PMS is something which I feel, and along with PMS is the reward and recognition program also. So these two processes are such in which you will also need the subjectivity. You can't make it automated because that will ruin the organization. I feel this is my view. So segregation of processes and problem solving aspects is the biggest challenge for me, and I think for HR professionals. Second aspect which I feel very big challenge in this tech world can be, we know that there is a very nowadays there is a big trend of HR analytics, data analytics, and this is going to be the data analysis is going to be the future of the work. But in that also, gathering the authentic data is the biggest challenge. How to get that? So for me, I think in the work environment, in the future, work, and that is full of technology, I feel these two challenges are the biggest one, and eventually probably the corporate, the industry, the thought leaders like your institute will come up some solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I think there are a lot of challenges to overcome for all of you. And moving further, when we talk about well-being, see, I would like to mention the kind of people getting into your organization. There is a kind of workforce who thinks that, okay, YOLO, you live only once, so let me do. Or there are people who are too much obsessed with their careers. There are people who want to work in hybrid. There are people who are facing a lot of mental health issues or physical health issues. So now, and even you have a diverse workforce, let it be male, female, or LGBTQ and all that. So managing them under one roof and ensuring that you build your culture. So how you ensure the well-being of all of them, plus this is the workforce which is going to be there in your organization. So I request all of you to talk about your well-being practices and also give my student a message that how they can ensure their well-being throughout their career with respect to achieving their and coming back to So I would like to start with Ashish sir. you being from IT and automation, I think you can tell us and then we can move further.
I think first of all, we need to tell everybody it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. चलता है. सब चंगा सी. नॉर्थ से कौन है दिल्ली से यहाँ तक? ये सब चंगा सी सब चलता है. The first thing which we tell people that it's okay to fail. First of all, you have to stop that competition. Also.
Yeah, can we little increase the volume, please, of this mic?
Better. So it's okay to fail. चलता है. Already reproduction process से इतना fight करके हम लोग जन्म लिए. Right. चलता है. The first important thing I think you should all start telling to yourself on what we do. I tell a couple of good practices which we do with Edelweiss is you have to accept the fact that if you are not succeeding in life. I narrate a small story. Long back, I left Indian Railways in 2010 after doing my MBA from IIT Ghaziabad, and I thought I came back to Calcutta and I thought I'd get a job. 2008-2010 there was a recession, there was no jobs. So मैं जब कलकत्ता लैंड किया ना तो मैं सोचा बहुत घमंड था मेरे को एजुकेशन का, मैं सोचा जॉब पाएगा. 4 महीना I was jobless at Calcutta. I appeared for 38 interviews in every part of Calcutta just to get a job in HR. At point where I felt that it's so bad, let me commit suicide out of Howrah Beach. That thought came. And today I am sitting here where I just don't get respite of my to even look out. I think finding that journey of your life, you will face challenges, you will face failures. Economic also, when we talk about well-being, in our organization, I think सबसे पहला हम लोग ना mental well-being बहुत है. किसी का कंधा चाहिए हम लोग. कॉलेज में XYZ का कंधा चाहिए, right? और जब शादी हो जाए तब भाई हस्बैंड का कंधा चाहिए. So it's companionship. That's how it is. Professional में आप या फिर mental health के लिए अपना कोई mentor चुनो जो आपको सुनेगा. Listening is a very important attribute. Second, in your first job when you join, reach out to your manager as his mentor. उसको ये मत देखो कि वो काम देगा तो मैं करूँगा. उसको अपना दोस्त मानो, हमसफर मानो. शादी वाला नहीं, but मतलब प्रोफेशनल साथी मानो so that he helps. क्योंकि एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में ना हमेशा ये सेइंग है, we don't leave our companies. जब ना वो स्लाइड आ रहा था ना तो मैं बहुत डर गया. हर साल में एक जॉब चेंज हो रहा था. ठीक है. I was very scared that the slide was playing all of them have subsequent tenures and I change like clothes every year. But I believe that you don't leave companies, you leave your managers. And if your managers becomes your companion, I think you will not leave the company. In our organization, what we do is we embrace these diversities when we came. So 4 things which we do as an organization, and many of the organizations do, but I would like to take that opportunity. 1, we declared a period leave policy for female employees in our organization. That it's not because they are women, but because their body type is different and they require that support. We have a policy that same-sex people can take 6 months of adoption leave. Though that is not legal in India, but we have declared that in our organization. Does not matter whether it is legally correct or not. Third thing, we have a helpline where you can call and get counseling sessions. Institute में होता है ना counseling sessions. Organizations में भी होता है. कोई unknown caller आपको phone करती है और आपको फिर कोच करती है. और चौथा चीज हमने जो किया है is we have also given paternity leave. It's not only maternity, but you have a 30-day paternity leave in case you become, but only one time marriage leave here. So I think these are the some practices which we as an MNC organization are doing. हम लोग की hiring बहुत tough होती है. तो हम लोग हर मंदिर पे मत्था टेकते हैं. मंदिर मतलब हर इंस्टीट्यूट. MBA से शुरू करके IIT, NIT, IIIT, 350 लोग देखने के बाद फिर एक जन हायर होता है. Because we are a patented product. So our product automatically makes the baby sleep. You don't need mothers. Because in US the maternity leave is just for 15 days. That's how our product got invented. So जो है ना, ये हमारे मार्गदर्शक ये दिखाते हैं कि हमारे पास ब्रांड एप्पल है, हम लोग को प्रोत्साहित करते हैं कि एप्पल हम लोग भी ले सकते हैं। इट इज नॉट फॉर यू टू शो ऑफ बट टू इंस्पायर पीपल व्हेन यू हैव। एक झुका हुआ फल से भरा हुआ पेड़ हमेशा झुका रहता है। अच्छा काम करो, जिंदगी बहुत छोटी है, क्या पता कल हो ना हो। अच्छा करके
Saurabh sir, your insight from your side.
Yeah, it's the challenges. The challenge is increasing with Ashish being around, right? What to contribute? I think points of really क्या. So, from my perspective, right? I'm a firm believer कि ये external motivation session वगैरह कुछ नहीं होता. Motivation has to be from within. It is only you and you who can motivate or demotivate yourself. And there is a very crude way of self-motivation. जब नीचे गर्म होता है तभी उठते हो, right? So it's very important to have that fire below whatever for you to rise. That's how a rocket also takes. I mean, rocket is one of the fastest vehicle, right? Why does it go at that speed? Because it has fire beneath. I think that is something which I absolutely believe in. That motivation has to come from within. You need to have that mindset कि मैं जो करूँगा मैं ही करूँगा. That is one. Second is you got to have a accountant mindset, and this is something which I have followed in my life. What am I going to get in return? What is going to be my return on investment? ये खुद को पूछना चाहिए. You need to ask this to yourself. Motivation automatically आ जाएगा. Because if I have invested 2 hours here today, what is that I am going to get as an individual? This is what I evaluate every single time I do anything. Because again, return is going to be on your investment. अभी पापा के पैसे होंगे, मम्मा के पैसे होंगे, but end of it is a return on the investment which has been made. So that is the second aspect of how do you keep yourself emotionally active. Okay, that's the second aspect. Third aspect or third practice is to have a network of people around you, actual people around you, not the virtual people around you. So it is extremely important to have that. वो कहते हैं ना, हर एक दोस्त जरूरी होता है, वो एक दोस्त जरूरी होता है. It is very important to have that friend with whom you can be yourself. And I can tell you, 15 years of professional journey, I have been fortunate to have a professional and a personal Sathi, the same person. So it is very, very important to have that person in your life, because with him or her, you will be able to share. The more you share, the more you will open. The more you open, the more problems you can talk about. The more problems you can talk about, the more solutions you will get. So I think that is very, very important to have the right friend with you who can help you navigate through things. Mentor Ashish did touch upon. So, these are things. So motivation has to come from within. It is important to have friends, actual physical present friends. Return on investment, we have to be calculative, because nobody else will help you. A CA will only tell you how to save tax. Nobody will tell you return कैसे ज़्यादा लाना है. It is you who has to decide that. Talking about practices, I was fortunate to work with an organization, Capita, where well-being was the crux of whatever we did. And for us, people were actually first before business. We had amazing practices when it came to well-being. We classified well-being into various aspects, starting with physical well-being, where we had a lot of these programs available, right from a Zumba session to a yoga session to whatever you name it, we have that. Second, financial well-being, what Ashish touched upon. We had programs to help people increase their return on investment. So how do you invest, where do you invest, etc. We made sure that salary is processed on the second last day of the month without an exception. And trust me, salary coming on time in the account with the right amount is one of the best things you can do for your employees. It is a basic thing, but still, error-free payroll is something which we emphasized on. We made sure that the insurance aspect of it is got taken care of. So, group medical, buffer policy, COVID policy, personal accident, term life, all of this were there. So, financially, we kind of made sure that they were supported. One of the important aspects, and I think you guys should know also, is we put in a concept of relationship well-being. We brought in experts to help us understand how do we deal with our relations. Because it was COVID time, right? We never stayed so much with our families, with our parents, with our in-laws, with our kids, with our better half, with the extended family. We never spent so much time. So how do you deal with that relationship? How do you deal with your grandparents? Probably, you were meeting them once in 3 months, once in 6 months. Now you're just with them. So, how do you deal with all of those aspects, right? So, relationship well-being. So, that was the third aspect. Fourth, of course, emotional well-being. Something similar to what Ashish mentioned. We have a counter call available and all of that. See, towards end of this point, I'll only one advice to each one of you is मंजिलें उन्हीं को मिलती है जिनके हौसलों में चांद होती है. पंखों से कुछ नहीं होता, हौसलों में उड़ान होनी चाहिए. So I think end of the day it is you and you.
Yashpal sir, I would like to know from you. So how this well-being is ensured specifically into manufacturing setup, and also how my students can ensure their well-being.
First of all, wellness, mental, emotional, or physical. I personally feel that thank God we are on the right track. This is one of the very good positive after COVID. I believe that we have started focusing on the balance. And I think, in a journalist point of view, I think that if we can link wellness with the business results, and we can make it a part of business strategy and employee value proposition, I think lots of improvement can be done in this. HR has gone beyond that traditional role now. It has now taken up a role which, like total happiness, total well-being, smile on the face of the employee. These have become the KPIs of the HR people. And performance also. So performance is something which, if you link it with your pride, if you link it with your happiness, and this is very much linked also. Believe me, suppose I give you a handsome salary. I hire you, I give you a very, very good salary, which is, like one of the best. And we give you all the perks. We give you all the facilities. And your performance is not up to the mark. And we have a policy, we don't fire people. Would you be happy? Tell me. So, performance-driven culture, upscaling the employees and making them shape their career in such a way that they become the high performers, I believe that can bring in lots of happiness and pride in them. And that will bring mental, emotional, and physical well-being for them. Now, coming back to what we are doing as a part of well-being, wellness programs. One is we have a very open culture, so we don't have a junior employee can't openly talk to the senior people. So they are very openly, they are very open, they are friendly. We have a very friendly culture. So that is one aspect. Second is we have lots of sports activities. Every year, if you have gone through my LinkedIn page, Ever India's LinkedIn page, you must have seen that lots of sports activities we do. We have cricket tournament, which is one of the best. We have done 9th of such tournament, annual tournament this year. And we are here in India for the last 10 years. So 13 we came in India, 14 we started the cricket tournament, and EIPL, Ever India Premier League, has become one of the brand in my area. Second, badminton tournament. For the last 3 years we are doing it. Volleyball tournament. Every year we do it. Then we have lots of other sports activities which we do. And most important aspect which I feel has become one of the, which has been made Afro India one of the healthier organizations is that the leadership team which is there, they are speaking like, you have seen my profile, I'm there for the last 11 years. So even before the operation started in India, I joined the company. And, and most of the leadership team there are working there from day one. So the stability part, that has, kind of built in that kind of skills in all the leadership team, that they are now focused on those important aspects of the culture, important aspects of the wellness. They are not like, if there is a new person, maybe he's at a leadership position, he might not be buying in the idea of sports activities. He would say, no, this is not required. For my team, I won't allow them. But the kind of alignment which is there in the leadership team, I feel that is the biggest factor. That Ever India is doing really good in terms of wellness, in terms of kind of performance. And last 10 years we have grown like anything, leaps and bounds. We are in 10 years time we are 1,000 crore company in India, and for the last 5 years, since 2018, we are also figuring in the great places to go.
That's great, sir. That's really inspiring. Abhishek, sir, I would like to know from you how the wellness is ensured in your organization and your message to my students to ensure their wellness as well.
So, before I answer the question, I'll just touch upon a concept that everyone talks about. It's very linked to wellness.
Yeah, please.
Work-life balance. How many of you have heard of that? So I think my thought process, and I think my previous organizations and current organizations thought process is that it's not essentially work-life balance anymore. It's more of work-life choice and the choices that you want to make. How you want to work, where you want to work from, what sort of work you want to do, what sort of responsibilities you want to take, and what sort of career velocity you want to have. There is space for everyone in the organization, and I think that's what we did really well at Brownstack, my previous organization. That if you want an accelerated career, we'll give you that, but be cognizant that with that there'll be extra work. You will have to take on additional responsibilities, and hence, because you have only 24 hours, your personal life can take a backseat. However, if you want to prioritize your personal life, you can still do that, continue to do your current work, and obviously your growth trajectory is going to be not as fast as otherwise. And that is a very clear conversation that is had between the manager and the employee, and people are very clear about how they want to approach it. This matter of choice, while it's always been there, I think COVID has brought about that a little bit more, because now people have experienced that there is a different way of working possible. And we wanted to then extend the same choice in our policies as well. So we said that, hey, if we are going to go remote as a company, and we probably were the first to announce in India, and we are headquartered company that we're going completely remote without a clawback of coming back. So we said our policies need to reflect that, right? So one, remote means that, hey, productivity will be high, people will be engaged, etc. So how do we track that, and what metrics are we going to look at? So absenteeism could be one metric, number of leaves that someone's taking, how many times people are falling sick, etc. And then productivity in a tech world is slightly easy to evaluate, because they look at number of lines of quality code shipped, right? And how quickly you're going to market with products and so on. So those are the metrics that we kept as a North Star. And then from there, we started building our policies. So one,
was unlimited leave. We said that we'll trust our employees and we'll not monitor how many leaves they take. They just need to inform the manager and they need to have a contingency plan in place who is going to cover for them during that period. But yeah, it was not capped. It was not 20 days, not 30 days. I know of people who've taken 60 days leave at a stretch and no one's really questioned. As long as work doesn't suffer, you're in the allocated work. So that was one. Also, because we went remote, some of our policies around enabling a home office became important. So we again said that we'll lead with choice. So either people could go to a WeWork and reimburse that amount post-COVID, or during COVID we said we'll help them set up their home office, right? Now, a large percentage of our population was based in Bombay, and that was a little bit of a challenge because Bombay, again, real estate space is limited. You cannot necessarily have tables, chairs, etc. set up just as easily that you probably would Hyderabad. So then we actually had personalized carpenter services we put up so that customizations around what size desks can be done. So I think that we did. Otherwise, fairly standard policies around insurance, etc. But what was really important, I think, for students coming in is to know that you have a choice, right? I firmly believe that Ashish is right. Everyone leaves their manager, and I firmly believe that everyone has the right to have a terrific manager, right? You should, and as you grow into a managerial role, you should remember that your employees, your reportees also have that same right. That remains your guiding light. But yeah, you always have a choice. If every organization is not made for everyone, and there is this concept of self-select or select out, which our organization very clearly called out in our job descriptions, etc. That we are a very hardworking and hard-playing organization, and we need to be tuned a certain way to be able to be successful. Doesn't mean that you're a bad employee. You may be great in some other organization, right? So I think recognizing that you have a choice and every organization is not meant for you, I think that is going to help decide what makes you happy. And at the end of it, it's a slightly more nebulous sort of construct, but that's what we're chasing. Everything else is a means to get there. So yeah, as long as you figure what makes you happy.
I think when you were talking, I remembered my ex-boss's quote. He used to say that जो काम करता है उसे काम मिलता है, जो काम नहीं करता है उसे पगार मिलता है. That means the people who don't do work, they don't get incentive, they get only their salaries. I think you are rightly implementing that, and thank you so much for bringing on those points.
I had a point too.
Yeah, please.
I think one of the other thing which I forgot to mention is it is good to compete and you should compete always, but it is extremely bad to compare. I think comparison is the root cause of disturbance. So please remember this, with whatever all of us said, comparison is not required. Competition is definitely required because that's the rocket, right? Remember that. But comparison is what kills. That causes stress. That causes agony. That causes pain, and that probably pushes you to derail from your value system. Is something I kind of firmly believe.
I agree with you. Yes, please.
So, a couple of things which I could forgot to mention. One is like participation. So when you ask the employees to participate, they feel valued. So we have a very good scheme called Yogdan, that is a suggestion scheme which we have implemented, and that is a proper process and system in which it is working. So it is helping a lot. Second, for you, I didn't mention anything that what is the kind of personality aspect you should develop so that you feel always on the top of the world. I feel that giving is something which is very important. When we are making a difference in someone's life, I believe that will give you all balance, be it mental, emotional, or physical. And I'll just share one story. not a story, but a question for all of you. There is this name for water, drinking water. It gives us the most essential part of our life, water, which is most important aspect. Without which I think we won't be able to live. So when it gives us the water, what is in return it is getting? Anyone? Satisfaction. But this is something, this is non-living thing. What is satisfaction for that tank, that pipe? It is a non-living thing. So this non-living pipe can't feel any satisfaction, right? So what is that? Anyone else, please? But good try. Life. But life it is giving to us. What is this pipe getting in return? Yeah, serving the purpose, but it can't feel that satisfaction. But okay, let me give you the answer now because we are running short of time. When we give something, when we make a difference in someone's life, I feel our internal system gets cleaned, and that's what this pipe is getting in return.
That's, I think, the true wellness is all about. Thank you so much, Ishwar, for bringing up this point. So I think there are 2 points which you're going to discuss. So I would request all the panel members to combine and answer so that we can have more question and answer from the audience. So there is a discussion on to how you all are advancing the diversity, equity, inclusion at workplace, and plus how you are reskilling your workforce, leadership, how you are ensuring the personalization at workplace through reskilling and all humanization. Also, I would like to emphasize little onto personalization as well, because I think when you are humanizing, it's important to personalize as well, because every individual on this require a unique attention, and getting unique attention, individual gets feel good about it, and technology is enabling that. So I would like to start from Ashish Dey sir, if you can provide some insights onto it.
That's fine. We will take the answer together.
Yeah.
Okay, so technology obviously, like I said, will help in hyper personalization. I just quickly add a caveat there. I was talking at SHR yesterday. We were talking about deep learning and neural networks. And I think what will happen with technology, and as we continue to use technology, uh, as humans, we have a very, very important role, right? Because we are the ones who are writing the algorithm, training the algorithm, making the algorithm make decisions, and then retraining basis wrong decisions or correct decisions and reinforcement. Right? Why is it important? It is important because an algorithm cannot take a moral decision, right? So you have these bots like Amber, which are like active listening agents. They would reach out to your employees through a survey. It's a bot. You can talk to her. She will be empathetic. She'll be like, "Oh, I'm really sorry that this happened." Very human-like characters. But can she actually provide a solution? She cannot. Now, if the algorithm is tweaked in terms of being able to provide a solution, it can cause havoc because it will be based on very, very cognitive reasoning, right? The emotional piece is out because, like, machines don't have sentience yet till singularity hits. So, I think that's very important, and that's a very important role that we as HR professionals or people, humankind in general, need to be aware of when we use technology. We are celebrating ChatGPT, but along with that, the sort of data that we are feeding to ChatGPT can be hugely detrimental for us. Similarly, Google search or Bing search. Secondly, I think DNI, and I probably touched upon it in the last session, catch up on it. Why is DNI important? I think every organization needs to answer that because most organizations fall into this trap of benchmarking and say that, hey, because people are doing it, we need to have X percentage representation.
don't. I'll give you an example. My previous organization, right, Rajasthan, it catered to developers. Right? The development. Now, what is the percentage of women in the development community? Negligible, right? And that's a bigger problem. Why is it not there? Etc. But we as a company, why should we run a DNI initiative to increase more women participation in our workforce? DNI is a business requirement, right? You need to reflect the user base that you're building products for. Now, if your user base is all male, you would not necessarily have that representation. Yes, we'll still hire women because they come through the interview process through an organic manner. But you will not have initiatives to cosmetically add women in the workforce in different layers of the organization. I think that's doing more disservice to the gender than service, because then there's this perception that there's a quota, etc., which I think is absolutely wrong.
I'm so sorry mixing both of your names.
No, I think Abhishek really pointed out, and I completely second what he's saying. हम लोग जेंडर का बात नहीं करें तो बेहतर है, क्योंकि हम लोग सोचते थे कि जेंडर ये कम है, मेल ज्यादा है, फीमेल कम है, ऐसा नहीं। अगर आप अभी गूगल खोल के देखोगे तो आपको पता चलेगा हर 1000 लोग मेल के लिए there are 948 women which is there. So India has come of that age where we are talking about women, death balance. I think Abhishek, I completely second what he's trying to say is we have to bring a temperamentally balance of competence. अगर कोई कैंपस आता है कल और वो बोलता है कि भाई आई विल ओनली हायर फीमेल्स, दैट वेरी बहुत गलत है ना, क्योंकि सबने 2 साल पैसे दिए, सबने लोन दिया होगा पेरेंट्स ने, सबने यहाँ पे मेहनत की है, और वो आके बोलते हैं वी विल ओनली हायर फीमेल्स। या सेल्स वाले आते हैं मार्केटिंग फील्ड सेल्स में, ओ फीमेल्स यू कांट डू दैट, क्यों नहीं कर सकती? जब आपको पैदा कर सकती है तो कुछ भी कर सकती है ना। आई थिंक दैट ये जो सोच है ना रिक्रूटर्स की, जो छोटी सोच है, उससे हम लोग को आगे बढ़ना पड़ेगा। ये डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है इंडिया में, तो ऐसा नहीं है नहीं। तो हम लोग उसके लिए क्या कर सकते हैं कि अभी यहाँ से ये जो डिस्कशन हो रहा है, अब ये मैं ये क्वेश्चन पूछा था मैम से कि आप लोग के लिए उसमें क्या, तो आप लोग देख रहे होंगे कि हर एक पॉइंट में एंड ऑफ द डे आपके लिए कुछ गिव अवे है, टेक अवे है। आप लोग उसको पकड़े, जो क्या कर रहे हैं ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में उसको नजरअंदाज भी करें तो भी चलेगा। End of the day, I think what you should do is on DNI is start respecting each other. आप ना भेदभाव ना करें। अगर विमेन सीट लिखा है बस में, तभी उनको दे, और अगर वो विमेन सीट नहीं है, अगर उसकी एवज में आपके खुद के परिवार में बहन, मम्मी, भाई, वाइफ होती, आप उठ के उनको सीट देते कि नहीं देते, और दूसरी लेडी खड़ी है उसको आप नहीं दे रहे, इस मानसिकता को आप लोग चेंज अपना ये मानसिक संतुलन बना के रखो कि आप जैसे अपने घर में फीमेल्स को ट्रीट करते हो, वैसे ही औरों की फीमेल्स को आप ट्रीट करो। आई थिंक दिस इज वेरी सिंपल इन डीएनआई, इस पे ज्यादा मैम और अपस्किलिंग में मेरे को लगता है कि ये ना एक इंडिविजुअल का, सौरभ ने बहुत अच्छा बोला कि ये शुरुआत खुद से होती है। अब जैसे हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी बोलते हैं सबका साथ, अभी अपस्किलिंग में ऐसा नहीं होता। आपने कोडिंग सीख ली या आप मैनेजमेंट गुरु बन गए, वो आपके साथ ऐसे रबिंग शोल्डर करेगा तो नहीं होता है। तो आप लोग खुद मेहनत करो, क्योंकि जितना गुड़ उतना मीठा। तो आप जितनी मेहनत करोगे उतना आपको मिलेगा। और ये सिंपल थ्योरी है, इसमें कोई शबो-शुबा का कोई गुंजाइश नहीं। कोई सीईओ बनेगा तो बाकी लोग उसको बोलेंगे भाई मैं तेरा बैचमेट था, मेरे को जॉब दे। कोई एचआर बनेगा तो बोलेगा मैं बैचमेट था, मेरे को जॉब दे। जब हमको सब ऐसे बोलते हैं, मेरे फादर आज तक समझ नहीं पाए कि एचआर होता है क्या, वो सोचते हैं मैं एचआर पापड़ था। So you would not understand still, but I think upskilling is an individual person. If we upskill ourselves, we will gain. If we gain, our family gains, our society gains, our company gains. ये केंद्र बिंदु ना अंदर से शुरू होता है और वो बाहर जाके स्प्रेड होता है। आप ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में बहुत सारे दिन ना हमने लिंक्डइन का वो स्किल्स ऑफ पोर्टल लिया था, हम लोग उसका बहुत सारा पैसा देते हैं कि जाके एम्प्लॉइज करें, और ईयर के एंड में देखते हो पैसा तो चला गया, किसी ने कुछ किया नहीं और तब आके खड़े हो जाते हैं कि बताओ डबल डिजिट इंक्रीमेंट क्यों नहीं। तो आजकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ना सिर्फ देना बैंक हो गई है, देना बैंक नहीं, उनके पास देने के लिए ज्यादा पैसे नहीं है, तो वी हैव टू अपस्किल, अदरवाइज जहाँ पे हो वहीं पे रह जाओगे। 4 लाइन बोलूंगा, आई थिंक दिस इज फॉर आवर लाइफ व्हिच इंप्लाइज टू ऑल ऑफ अस इज काम करो ऐसा कि पहचान बन जाए, हर कदम चलो ऐसा कि निशान बन जाए, जिंदगी को हर कोई काट देता है, जिंदगी जियो ऐसा कि मिसाल बन जाए।
Thank you so much for such an insightful advice, sir. I request Saurabh sir to please provide his viewpoint on this.
ये मैम, आई थिंक मैम और आशीष ने कुछ सेटिंग करके रखा है। आशीष उस लेवल पे ले जाते हैं और फिर मैम बोलते हैं अच्छा चलो ज्ञान बांटो आप। I mean, Ashish and I are absolutely fantastic friends, and so no regret sitting next to him. Only one thing I will emphasize on skill building. It is important to unlearn. जो कुछ सीखा है ना, उसे भूल जाना भी बहुत important है. It's very important to unlearn basis the situation, and that is what we at Haber look at. How quickly will you be able to unlearn whatever you have learned? Because that shows how flexible you are, how agile you are. So my only mantra on skilling, upskilling is have the ability to unlearn. जो कुछ सीखा है, जो कुछ समझा है, उसे भूल जाओ ऑफिस में आने से पहले, and try and adapt to what is required for that situation. सिचुएशनल लीडरशिप बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. उस सिचुएशन में लीडर कौन है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अनलर्न. सेकेंड एस्पेक्ट इज फ्यूचर. व्हाट विल मेक श्योर दैट यू आर एम्प्लॉयबल इन द फ्यूचर. When I say employable, it doesn't mean only doing a job. It also means being an entrepreneur. It also means being a researcher. जो कुछ करना है, whatever you want to do, right? Future focus होना बहुत important है. वो हमारा क्लीशे क्वेश्चन होता है ना, where do you want to be after 3 years? तो वैसा खुद को पूछना बहुत important है. I think अभी HR पूछना बंद कर दिया हम लोगों ने कि 3 years के बाद कहाँ होना है, 5 years के बाद. But jokes apart, ये खुद को पूछो कि मुझे अगर 3 years के बाद वहाँ जाना है, तो उस रास्ते पे अभी से निकलना जरूरी है. It is important that you start. So unlearn and future focus are 2 important mantras for upskilling and being relevant to the job. Chat GPT आएगा, AI आएगा, सब कुछ आएगा, but they will only give you information. Finally decision आपको लेना. Decision यहाँ पे जो है उसी से लेना है, and जो वहाँ से decision लेता है with the help of something which is on your left hand side, I think those are people who are successful. So that's my only 2 mantras.
Thank you so much, sir. I request Yashpal sir to please mention some of the skills which my students have to ensure when they join the corporate life. Apart from that, how your organization is ensuring the reskilling or learning, unlearning. What are your strategies in your organization?
I feel that the biggest learning platform always, anytime, whenever, just remember the time when computers started in India. What happened? All of us were not computer savvy. No, all of us were not computer experts. What happened? We implemented that. And now today, we are the biggest country having IT experts. Same way, I feel that biggest learning platform is by experiencing and exposure. So HR people, they have to implement the technology in the key decision making processes, whatever it is. You will learn it. You can't wait for the time when you will learn something, and then, because today's world is very fast, HR has to be very agile. You have to be your speed is the most important aspect. Suppose let me use the language of Ashish. हनुमान जी ने ये सोचा होता कि पहले मैं सीख लूं कैसे उस बुद्धि को मैं पहचानूंगा और फिर लेके आऊंगा, तो वो ट्रेनिंग लेके फिर जाते तो क्या होता, नहीं काम आता था. So same way we have to now, today is a very fast world, we have to just implement, jump into the thing. अपने आप सीख लेंगे हम लोग, सीखा जाएगा. That's not a rocket science. Rocket science के लिए ठीक है, institutes बने हुए हैं, we can learn from there. But these are things that can be learned, I think, on the job. So for me and for my organization also, Agro India, हम लोग हमेशा जब कोई टेक्नोलॉजी होती है तो उसको इसी तरह करते हैं कि हम इम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं. Yes, technology is always costly. उसमें चैलेंज क्या आता है कि मैनेजमेंट कहते हैं कि बहुत कॉस्टली है, इट्स वेरी कॉस्टली. सो HR or the owner of the process, they have to show the real buying period, the kind of payback period of the technology which we are using. And for that, I'm coming back to that point, that data analytics, that will come into the picture. So you have to show the analysis that this is the payback period and this is going to help us in the long run. Yes.
Just one point.
Please.
So I think one more thing, just to sum up, someday all of us will hear a fair bit of gap, but I think as a student, what I failed at when I first joined the workforce was fear of failure, right? Because you would not do something for fear of what if it breaks. So I think today most organizations are okay if you move fast, break things. Don't break the same thing again. Just learn something from it, move on. I think many organizations celebrate failure because through that failure they'll be learning for a larger group of people and the company will save costs. But yeah, if you don't try, you will never do it. Right? So I think that's one thing at a generic level, HR or not HR, is something that all of you need to do. If you think something's right, it's going to make life easier for you as a professional. Keep the relevant stakeholders informed and then do it, and then you can seek forgiveness later.
Yeah, one of the point which I also wanted to emphasize, we said compare, compete. Also, right, always look at the next person as there is something which you can learn from him or her. इतना दिल बड़ा रखो कि somebody is better than me and I can learn something from that individual. I mean, I have taken so much today from hearing my fellow panelists. I mean, there's been a tremendous learning for me. So that attitude बहुत important. It's very important for upskilling that everybody you meet, interact, come across has something to give you, something to give you. सिर्फ वो you need to have that attitude to accept it. वो बाकी नजर बहुत जरूरी है. So that you can take the good things from that individual, learn from not so good things. And I relate to what Abhishek said, that we also need technical managers in our life to help us understand how we should not be. Because कोई तो बताना चाहिए कि बुरा क्या है. And self experience is the best learning anybody can have. So it is important to have terrible people, terrible managers in your life, because they will tell you the value of having good people around and also will help you understand how you should not be. And then probably that's what I would kind of conclude by saying, खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना, खुद को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा खुद बंदे से पूछे, बता तेरी रजा क्या है, बता तेरी रजा क्या है. Thank you.
I think very engaging session from all of you. Thank you so much for bringing out various points, and at the end I feel that humanizing the workplace is just not HR's responsibility, it's everyone's responsibility to ensure that we humanize the workplace by managing self first, and then only I think we can manage others. So can we have some questions from students? Yes please. Yes, please. Let's start with the lady. She raised the hand first.
Hello, sir. Hello, ma'am. So, thank you for giving us. Hello.
Yeah, you are audible. Please.
giving us your valuable time. And my name is Shreya. So my question is, as we all know, it's a boundaryless world. So in a boundaryless world, how do you ensure that diversity and inclusion are incorporated into the hiring and development of the future workforce?
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting question. DEI, I think, is very valid, and I would say this should be discussed in this platform. And I feel, like you are right. This is a big challenge also because HR people they can train themselves. They can train few of the managers. But in the larger group, there can be someone who is not willing to accept it. So how to do that? So there is a technology called blind profile screening. So these kind of technology can be used to just avoid this unconscious biases.
Yes, please.
I'll just add on a question. For me, it's always I before D. Right? As a talent acquisition professional, I would say it's easy. It's relatively easy for me to get in more gender diverse talent or diverse talent into the organization. But how we integrate successful is what's going to make it sustainable, right? So I think any DEI effort needs to start with I. We need to get that's what I have a discussion with all CEOs that I've worked with. One, why do you need DEI? Is it just because everyone else is doing it? You need to have a clear business case. If you have a business case, you have the right maturity among your leaders and managers and workforce to integrate people successfully into the workforce. If yes, I'll get you.
And I'll snatch what Abhishek mentioned before the discussion. For diversity to come into your organization, you do not need to make them feel different. I think that is very important. And then I was astonished when Abhishek said that he never ran an initiative where he said that I will only hire female through this drive. I will incentivize people only for helping us build diversity. Because from my perspective, diversity is a thought process. Diversity is a culture. And how do you embrace that? How do you make it very natural so that somebody who's coming through that shouldn't feel, using the word, shouldn't feel I'm from the quota category. So it has to be very natural, and that is how the society and the organization is going to be inclusive, because it's just not about the thought, it is also about the actions which follow through. And I think that is where progressive organizations are going nowadays, that they want to make it as part of their culture instead of taking it as an initiative.
Can we have the next question, please, from this side? Anyone from this side? Yes, please. Can we pass the mic quickly?
Good evening, everyone. So I am Felicity Abhishek from MBA HR. So I had a question as we were discussing about diversity and inclusion. I have a question that it's quite scary for people belonging from LGBT community to come out of the closet. And when they do, they face a lot of bullies. So how do you help them to deal with it? And also, how do you promote inclusivity in the organization?
I take this up because I have been living this journey from the start. I have a brother who is working me, but I lived with them since childhood. So at the end of the day, I believe this is a mindset stage. Right? आपका 50 पैसे का कॉइन अगर नाली में गिर जाता है, आप उसको उठाओगे कि नहीं उठाओगे, ये आपका जरूरत और माइंडसेट के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है. जिसके लिए 50 पैसा बहुत जरूरी है, वो हाथ उठा के निकालेगा. जिसके लिए जरूरी नहीं है, वो आगे बढ़ जाएगा. अंबानी का अगर I work with Mr. Ambani in Reliance. If he loses, he does not worry because he has skill. If we lose 100 rupees, 50 पैसे का क्लॉटमेंट भी खरीदते हैं तो टिप के देखते हैं कितना है. Right? LGBTQI कम्युनिटी का ना ये मेरा ये मानना है कि एक प्रेफरेंस है. एक होता है जेंडर, एक होता है प्रेफरेंस. वो आपका कुछ भी हो सकता है, वो आपका एक जन्म सिद्ध अधिकार है. उसमें किसी को भी कुछ भी बोलने का at an organization, what we do is, if somebody is not portraying the right kind of behavior, we snub that. That is intolerable, and the only action we take is a termination. Because आप ना किसी की मानसिकता को समझा नहीं सकते. आप कोई जॉब ज्वाइन करता है, वो मैच्योर्ड है, वोट देने के लायक होके ज्वाइन करता है, आप उसको क्या समझाओगे? ये सब चीज थोड़ी समझाई जाती है. हमारा एजुकेशन सिस्टम, बहुत बोलते हैं कि हमारा एजुकेशन सिस्टम खराब है, कॉलेज में नहीं बताते. अरे यूट्यूब पे बाकी सब तो देखना सीख जाते हो, ये सब क्यों नहीं सीखते? You use YouTube for a lot of other things which is not advisable, but you are not learning what is advisable. So I think self-learning is enough, and we should have come out of it. If we are not following the right, I think termination, any breaching of the modesty of anybody individual, I think that calls for a termination. That is what. That's it.
No, and I think another important aspect which I think we keep telling our fellow colleagues is come out and talk about it in confidence. And I think that is an important role of us as leaders. How do you create that environment where people will be fearless to come in open and speak about it? When I say in open, in confidence with you as a leader, with your team, how do you create that environment? And that is the biggest success of a leader, if he or she is able to create that environment where, I'm not afraid to go and say that, I'm going through a trouble. XYZ person is creating issue in my life, and can you deal with it? And I can tell you with conviction, such cases, we have taken suo moto actions. The individual did not want to be named but had all the proofs. Without exposing the person, we have taken a suo moto action as an organization and terminated somebody who was the highest post in the organization. So organizations are conscious, organizations are open. It is very, very necessary for our leaders like us to create that enabling environment. And then I always say this, open up and speak. Don't be fearful of the repercussions. Repercussions ऐसे भी है, वैसे भी है. So why not expose and face the repercussions instead of being a victim and continuing to face the repercussions.
Also, to add to Saurabh, there is not only LGBTQI+, people are sensitive about pet parents and those plant parents in our organizations, and I've seen so many people around, they're so sensitive about being not to be termed as your pet, as some obscene. So you can't say that. So I think we are respecting each other's space. We have no right to tarnish anybody's personal space. तो जैसा है वो वैसा ठीक है. आपको जब तक वो प्रॉब्लम ना करे तब तक.
I think it's all about respecting individuals with their dignity. Please say.
I like that question. In fact, it's a very good question because I become personally very invested into this. Because so many people, please go back, and even if you are straight, bi, it does not matter. Go back and participate and support, LGBTQI+, because they really need them, very talented. But because they are not given the space, they are sometimes left out. So there are pride marches which happens, right? Go back and supplement. Absolutely. कोई भी आपको बोलेगा कि आपका preference क्या है. So do that.
Thank you, sir.
Can we have? Yes, please. Yes.
Just I want to congratulate this student. The kind of sensitivity people are inculcating in the students, that's really wonderful. I believe that this is how our India can become a great nation. This is how the real inclusion is this. And hats off to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I really thank you so much, Yash, for putting that. I think such a sensitive topic, putting out in open requires a lot of courage. And I really applaud me. Generally, I don't do that. I run a Super 30 model. So there are 11 students across last 3 years in different institutes where I've gone. I pick up at least one people. बहुत जन बोलते हैं कि हम लोग आके ये कर देंगे, वो कर देंगे. कोई कुछ नहीं करता. और कोई कुछ कर को पाता भी नहीं कॉलेज में. क्योंकि टाइम नहीं है, सबके पास अपना बैटल्स है. तो मेरा ये मैं कोशिश करता हूँ कि एक जिंदगी है, तो अगर एक जिंदगी को हेल्प किया जाए, तो क्या होता है कि कॉलेजेस में जाते हैं, सबको तो नहीं बोल पाएंगे कि आओ दरबार खुला है और ज्ञान बांटे. You can help only one. Because of your question, I leave this challenge open. You can go to LinkedIn and you can write your failure story, and you can tag me the story which appeals a reality, you will be in a mentorship model which I run. There are 11 people. The person who comes, their internship job, their career is all my responsibility.
And sir, to address this issue, we have a program called Glory. It is an annual fest. So we had a theme of fashion show which was LGBTQ to sensitize all our students and understand that this gender is there and we should respect everyone. Yeah. Can we have more questions? Yes, please.
Good afternoon, dignitaries. My name is Raj Mukund. I'm from Business Analytics. Well, my question is, how does any organization support collaboration and knowledge sharing across different generations of employees, especially when more diverse age groups are joining the workforce?
Good question. And in diversity, this can be a challenge. But I feel that in any organization, when you are joining in any department, be it accounts, production, quality, whatever department you are joining, you will be having that basic educational knowledge and expertise for that. You will be eventually you will be getting training for that. But I feel that for working in any organization, you need some trainings on the value system. So if you are trained on that, and for that, diversity is not a limitation. Any gender, any age group can kind of be a part of that training program of value system of the organization or values of the organization. And once those values are inculcated in any person, any employee, rest of the things person will do himself or herself.
Can I give you an example of what used to do at LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn was a very young organization with leaders being very senior, and we wanted to build more digital savviness among leaders. So there was this reverse mentoring cycle that we used to run, fairly successful. So I have actually reverse mentored the APAC head of HR of LinkedIn, successfully, unsuccessfully, I don't know, but yeah, she's still there with the company, hopefully successful. So it's worked really well because it gives the person who's mentoring gets that face time with the leader, and the leader learns something new.
Yeah, can we have our next question? Yes, please. Please.
Good evening, welcome to PIBM campus. And so nowadays, technology is getting a very good role in all the organizations, right? The AI is coming into the picture, and all the other technologies is capturing the human mind that they will lose the job, which they will not, I believe, because all the HS people are present here. So my question is basically, how can organizations balance the need of technological advancement with the importance of maintaining a human-centric approach to the work?
Probably I'll take that one. See, organizations, we need to realize one thing, that organization exists to make profits. They are into business. Okay? So if they make money, if they make profits, they'll be able to reinvest in people, into the society, into the ecosystem. So making money is extremely important. So organizations will continue to look at opportunities wherein they can automate and make it person independent. So that is given, that will continue to happen. That's what has been happening for decades together, right? From when the internet was, introduced to, chat GPT and all of that. The flip side of all of this is we as human beings have the ability, the senses we have, right? All the senses. We will be able to use our senses in a much better way because of whatever operational, transactional, routine, mundane activities. If those get automated, those get covered through your tools, you will have brain space to think what could be done better. And I think that is the way I look at technological advancement. All of this is only going to enable us to use the brain space, to use the thinking ability, to create difference in the life of every other person we interact with. And I think that's how you should look at it. Yes, jobs will be taken away, and I think IBM was the first one to openly talk about so many jobs getting lost. But at the same time, they are talking about tons of other jobs getting created, which will actually, and and this is a very common thing, right? As student managers, your aspiration is, I've done MBA, I should get into strategy right from day one. Look at it from this standpoint. If you are able to elevate yourself, your abilities, your skills, competencies to think and not only to execute, you actually will start operating at a very different level, because all the rest of the operational things will be taken care of by the tool. So I think this is an opportunity to look at it from that perspective.
When computers came, it was said that it will eat up all the jobs. And even if the technology will be there, your humans will be required to switch on the buttons.
Thank you. Yeah, can we have, yes, please. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir. Sir, basically, in the next few months, we'll be placed. So, as like the corporate leaders, could you just suggest like what are the traits that we need to unlearn to upskill ourselves? And that would be like in general, what would be your suggestion? And also, like from HR perspective, I have a question. That is, as we know that Industry 4.0 has already taken over. And there are times when employees are reluctant to adopt the changes and the technology as well. As a result, what happens is that the attrition rate in the organizations goes high. So, what are the strategies you have adopted to address the attrition problem and also the engagement so that the employees do retain in the organization?
I'll take the first part. Unlearning very close to my heart, so I jumped in. See, I like the confidence when you said that in next few months we are going to be placed. I really like that. That's a self belief, right? So, it is important, and this is through personal example, personal learning. It is very, very important to be flexible, adaptable, and to be willing in every aspect to learn, of course, in the rightful manner. What we have noticed over the last few years is there is rigidity, in the mind of a student, that no, I will only work remote. No, I will only work on this technology. No, within HR, I will only work in L&D or in HRBP or in XYZ. As long as the opportunity is able to give you learning, I think you should grab it by open hands. My own example, I started my internship with Tata Johnson Control. My first assignment, and imagine this, engineering topper, MBA first year topper. I already had like probably 10 ons on my head. My first assignment when I joined Tata Johnson, it was a campus internship, was to convert business cards of my head HR into an Excel sheet. My dreams were shattered. I was like, what the hell did I take HR to do this data entry job? I didn't know how to photocopy. That was my second assignment. But from there to today, leading the business from a HR and a people standpoint for my organizations I've worked, that's been the journey. The reason is adaptability, flexibility, and the attitude to learn and grow. No job is of less importance. So I think that is very, very important. Those are traits. On the second part, which you mentioned about, the HR, HR challenges, right? And only a couple of sentences. From my perspective, I have always been assertive of the change and never been aggressive of the change for my organization. Because I believe when you're assertive, you have thought put into your strategies. When you're aggressive, then your aggression gets into your actions, and what you're dealing with is human beings. They are easily able to understand what you're driving them for.
Point, Sarawat. I just build upon on the financial aspect of this. क्या होता है कि when we get a job, we always have CTC figures in mind, like cost to company क्या मिलेगा, how much money will I get. have a simple advice for all of you. That is all your destiny, what you will get. End of the day, nobody can guarantee what you will get. But I have strongly believed that in people functions, when I've seen careers very closely, we become opportunities. जो मिला वो ले लिया. हमने कभी एफर्ट नहीं लगाई. इंडिया में मैंने बहुत जगहों को देखा है क्लोजली कि एफर्ट नहीं लगाते क्रिएट करने का, कि खुद को जान लो कि यार मैं आईटी कंपनी के लिए चाहिए, और फिर मैं आईटी कंपनी में जो रिक्वायर्ड है उसको ग्रूम करके फिर आईटी कंपनी में जॉब कैसे क्रिएट किया जाए अपने लिए, वो एफर्ट नहीं लगते. कल अगर एफएमसीजी आए और एचआर वाले नहीं आए तो जॉब लेने के लिए आप लोग मार्केटिंग में भी जाते हैं. काफी जन ऐसा काफी इंस्टीट्यूट करते हैं. एक्चुअली डज नॉट हैपन हियर, बट आई हैव सीन वेरी क्लोजली लार्ज स्केल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस दे डोंट गेट एचआर कैंपस, दे टेक इट टू मार्केटिंग. So one important thing of financial is आप डिसाइड कर लो कि आपको क्या करना है, उसके पीछे भागो. बहुत सारे जन क्या करते हैं कि वो बनाए फ्रेमवर्क अपने लिए कि यार आपको 5 साल में मैनेजर बनना है और मेरी सैलरी 1.5 लाख रुपया होनी चाहिए बनना. और जैसे वो रीच करते हैं ना, वो लालची बन जाते हैं. फिर अपना फ्रेमवर्क बढ़ा देते हैं कि भाई आप मेरी 3 लाख होनी चाहिए और मैं वाइस प्रेसिडेंट होना चाहिए. तो ये जो जिंदगी का चक्रव्यूह है चलता रहेगा और आपको खोखला कर देगा. When you will enjoy in deathbed, in hospital, when you have crores of medical and say कि ऐसा पैसे का क्या करें. So please do not fall into that trap of this greed. Make a framework and follow that. Once you achieve it, enjoy life. I have done that in 35. I don't aspire things because it's individual per se. कोई बोलेगा कि नहीं मेरे क्या, जिसका जो जरूरत है पूरा करके चुपचाप बैठ जाओ. जैसे सेकंड टू आंसर, कोई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का attrition or engagement same नहीं होता. It's very different because challenges are different, business is different. What I have felt generally 3 things retain people. One is respect. आप कहीं पे भी आते हो ना तो 2 चीज लेके जाते हो, दिमाग की भूख सीखने की और खाने की भूख पेट की. ये दोनों चीज कोई भी अगर आपके तिरस्कार करता है तो आप उसकी जगह दूसरे बार नहीं जाते. Respect and your food, and the third thing is important is कि आज आप जहां पे हैं कल 5 साल बाद अगर वहीं पे खड़े रहे तो वो ग्रोथ.
Yeah, let me sum it up with one question. So I'll go with sir. Sir, when I was doing my MBA, one of my friend who was a pharma graduate, so he got his internship in pharma company and final placement with Ranbaxy. So couple of days, early days, the company gave him a job that you go to the city, make a list of all doctors and the social calendar, their wedding anniversaries and birthdays, and then when the day falls, you should be the first to knock at the door. So his day starts 6 o'clock. So for my students, probably this could be a very odd job, right? MBA graduate from a premium college, and this is what he's going to do. But then he took this as an opportunity, and in Hyderabad, he made a list of close to 700 plus premium doctors, all high-end doctors. He made a personal rapport with them, and within 3 years, he started his own company, and today his turnover is close to 100 crores. So any opportunity is an opportunity if you can have an eye to look beyond what is obvious. So that's what I wanted to add to your point. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We can have the bots conclude.
It was indeed a very comprehensive, eye-opening and an educational session. Thank you all the esteemed dignitaries for sharing your expertise and enlightening the young minds. Thank you Rajeshri ma'am for chairing the session so effectively and successfully. Now I would like to call upon an esteemed member of PIBM who carries more than 10 years of experience in industry and academics. Sir specializes in teaching various marketing and analytics subjects in like marketing analytics, e-commerce, digital marketing, and many others. Apart from teaching accountability, Sir has worked with various accreditation committees as a core lead member for NAAC and NBA. I would request Naresa, Assistant Director Academics, to give the vote of thanks. Can we have a huge round of applause?
I'm audible? First of all, very good evening to all the panelists over here and my dear students. I just thank maybe just the word that we can conclude this session, but I just like to say on the entire behalf of PIBM family, I like to say thanks to my bottom of my heart to all the panelists who are over here, because everyone have a choice in their life, right? So because in their busy schedules, yes, as a student, I know your schedules. Likewise, each one of us over here have their own schedules. In these schedules, when they can still make up time to contribute something back to the society, to the young minds, so that you guys can contribute something back to your own community or maybe your own society. So I'd like to thank on behalf of the entire PIBM family from the bottom of my heart for all the panelists who are gathered over here. Starts with Abhishek there, sir. Thanks for valuable time and joining us over here. Followed by Ashish Bhatta, sir. Thanks for joining us today. And Shaurabh Shah, sir. Thank you. And Yashpal Singh, sir. Thank you on behalf of the entire family of PIBM. And it's not just that they are gathered. Whatever they have gained in last 30 years of their experience, they just given you guys in a capsule of just 1.5 hours, right? Now it's up to you how big you guys want to make out of it. And I personally was there in the session for quite some time. What I felt is something like you've given them everything at the simplest way possible, sir. It's not something like an stalwart talk, like they speak a lot, but I don't get anything out of it. But it's not like this. The entire session, each one of us were over here, they given their own lifetime as an example, they given us the basic words possible. So I'm pretty sure that each one of you guys, not that they've been a part of the session, can retain this today's learning. So I like to acknowledge this on behalf of my entire students, and I'm requesting all the students to give a big round of applause for all of you. A special thanks to Philemon, because as a moderator, I also been as a moderator. It's very challenging and difficult for us to take the session in a balancing. It should be interesting. It should be on time. It should be engaging students. Thanks for your valuable time and joining us over here, ma'am. And Bharat sir is over here who given a power pack introduction for this session. So that starts all with data. The session was going in the same track. Thank you, Bharat sir and Vinay sir for joining us. And this day was completely well organized and it was smooth, and the execution was just points like 100. I'll say 99.99 because I never believe in 100. That's why 99.99% executable and very good. It's not just because of like me or anyone over here. Each one of us, placement department, work day and night to ensure all the corporates reach over here. Our entire staff team, right? So placements and academics and ground staffs are work day and night. And you are a student, I know that you guys prepared. I have your exams on Monday, right? Still, I can see many of you guys have done a good research about the company, about the panelists, and you have some right set of questions. I hope you have justified the time and answered all your questions. I'll appreciate each one of the members of PIBM family who have put their 100% to make this event successful. And I request again you guys to give a big round of placements. You yourself. Because yes, time is first. We have to stand by it, and second, anything and everything, it's about how we execute. The execution was fantastic. I'll thank all the anchors who have organized this event well, all the students coordinator and a media team to join us for this today's evening. Hope we will meet you soon once again. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I request all the dignitaries and guests to come forward for a group photo.